Hi, I'm Andrew, the CEO of Beatdapp, and we're here at BlockShow presenting what we've been working on in stealth mode for the last 2 years. It's exciting to get out here and show people what we can do. I started in film and TV as a literary agent. I worked on a lot of really amazing properties like Hugo, which was up for Best Picture and 40 nominations, The Hunger Games, Tale of Despero. Moved into music, did a lot of music promotion for a lot of top 10 performing acts. That was an agency that we subsequently sold. I built 2 tech companies since. One that went into 17 different cities with operations, users from 100 countries, and then another that we went from 7 to 100 employees. A little over the course of my journey, I've raised close to $45 million for various ventures. Yeah, so Beatdapp is really focused on auditing and compliance of usage of media tracking. So there's a lot of companies that focus on who owns what or taking payments and paying them out with smart contracts. We don't focus at all on taking money, paying money, or ownership or chain of ownership other than what we sync into different databases, whether that's on-chain or off-chain. We focus exclusively on usage. How many times was this song actually played? Let me ask you, if Spotify said your song did 100 million plays, how do you know 100 million plays actually occurred? There's no regulatory body, there's no authentication, there's no accounting of those plays. And now we're finding often when streaming services report those numbers, there's an average of 15% discrepancy. And that's a problem that needs to be addressed because we're working towards a $4 billion loss for the major players in the industry. Yeah, let me be clear. I don't think the discrepancies are really nefarious. And I don't think that it's the streaming services, all of them are bad. Like there's a lot of really amazing streaming services that have clean data. There's also a lot of just human error in between and with intermediaries and where that data gets passed and the delay times that occur. And keep in mind that this is a cost center for them. Like streaming services need to pay the royalties out, especially the sound recording royalties to the labels that they have these deals with. But really they're paying the same amount. So how much they spend on trying to make accurate data is really just an extra cost for them with no real economic upside. And so that's where we try to alleviate that cost and come in and say, look, we can do the accounting for everybody and authenticate your reports. We can save you a lot of time and money in audits so that you aren't constantly servicing audits from the labels. And for the labels, they know the numbers are correct so they can move forward with the rest of their financial operations. So the technology's done. We actually have filed 8 patents now, 1 fully approved for blockchain-enabled tracking of music and TV and film for video. We went a little broader because we're tracking media. While we started with the commercial use case in music, which is what the customers asked us to build, what we already had a product market fit for, we recognized that this application could probably extend further into video, and we started building our platform really to be able to facilitate that as well. So where we stand now is we've built an all-star advisory board, which includes the former Prime Minister of Canada, Stephen Harper, includes the former Chief Legal from Universal Music Group Canada and VP Sony. It includes the Songwriters Music Hall of Fame General Counsel, and like James Villeneuve, the former Consul General to Los Angeles, who knows every entertainment brand you could possibly imagine. We've also raised a $3.2 million funding round where we were 200% oversubscribed. And we have 22 pilots where we're rolling out right now with POCs, where we expect to realistically be able to do $10 million in revenue this year and 2020. And I think realistically, we're looking at a $100 million company in the next 3 years in terms of revenue. Yeah, so probably the most public pilot is with Entertainment One. They have 200,000 tracks, 20,000 albums. Entertainment One's an amazing company. They put artists first. They really think about it as being as transparent as possible for artists, and I think that's just who they are as part of their DNA. A lot of people don't know this. They think of them as a film and TV company. They're one of the largest, international distribution companies, but they're also the largest independent label in the world. They have, like I said, Death Row Records, Snoop Dogg, the Lumineers. They have an incredible catalog of music that we're excited to start tracking and help them make sure they monetize appropriately. We started this with the intention of anti-disruption. I think every company or every technology company comes in here and thinks disrupt, 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 and sometimes that's great. Sometimes things need to be disrupted. Our personal philosophy is that the music industry, and specifically the labels, does 1,000 things to make an artist successful. There's a reason why 1 in every 10 artists on a major label break and become famous and a hit. And 1 out of every million make it with independent artists. And the reality is you can't just have good music and good distribution. You need branding, you need PR, you need booking agents. There's 1,000 seats at that table that you need in order to be successful. So instead of coming in and thinking about how do we disintermediate the market, how do we cut people out, how do we disenfranchise multiple groups, instead we said there's not a technology that is currently tracking this. This is a completely new economic wave of the streaming economy that never occurred, and nobody is tracking it. So instead, we see ourselves as an added tool or a bolt-on product to help digitally transform the music industry into the new age without disintermediating anybody. We do not want to disrupt, we want to help. And I think that's probably what separates us. We understand the music industry, we aren't trying to cut people out of it, we want to help them put food on their tables and help everyone along the value chain. I mean, I'll be honest, like coming in and saying I'm Andrew from the IRS is never a great look. It's difficult to be an auditor, but I think the realization now from most streaming platforms is there's more money to be made over the top of the table than under it. And with correct analytics and insights, that helps everybody. The content companies know better which types of content to release and when and for what markets and how to prioritize it. They better understand how to monetize it with advertisers, especially in video when they're already paying 10 to 50 cents CPM to verify streams for advertisers, and we can do that for a fraction of the cost, like a penny or 2 pennies. So there's a huge opportunity, I think, to provide value there in this competitive market. And currently the way it stands, if you think about it, it's a $20 billion honor system, right? Everyone is just saying the numbers. And I think that, as our co-founder and many people say, is sunshine's the best disinfectant. And I think that there's a really powerful way to show everybody, or to be the standard third-party tool that is authenticated and everybody agrees to, without necessarily being competitive. Because we aren't selling that data, we aren't building necessarily things that can be competitive with them, and everybody wins. I hope so. I hope the music industry's learned their lesson. I think that they want to be better. They always have. It's hard, and any large company is hard. I mean, when you think about the fact that 3 major players control such a large percentage of the market, those 3 people need to want to change. And there's really incredible labels out there that are looking to make those changes and actively and proactively investing in those technologies and wanting to. So I think the difference this time around is it doesn't feel like they're being reactionary. The labels actually feel like they're proactive. I mean, they came to us and asked for a solution. Like, nothing was more proactive than that, right? They didn't just wait for it to just show up on their doorstep and be forced into it. And I think this last experience for them of going through this digital transformation to streaming saved them. Let's not forget, like, the industry executives I know were changing jobs into real estate. I mean, people were like gone. Like, it was a ghost town. And I think that streaming is like completely saved and revitalized an industry, and within the next 5 years, they'll be making more money than they ever made previous. And that's amazing, and that's such a second opportunity for an industry everyone thought was dying. And I don't think they're going to blow this time. I think they're going to stick with it. They're going to try and embrace technology, and I think the younger generation of executives that are coming up in the music industry understand it better. They grew up with it. They understand the implications. They're the more early adopters, and so I think that the music industry has an opportunity here to really lead and not follow.